Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I have with me tonight my good friend Dr. Sanders is in the studio with me tonight, and we are back for another powerful conversation about what happened to the family values. What happened to the family values? I am going to play some intro music, and we are about to get this show started for this evening.
Why should a man like me wanna stay around and try to love a woman like you will? All you do is bring up all the wrong things that I have done. I'm just sitting trying to figure out why to keep trying to hold on to me when I already know there's a love in your heart. How can a man keep on trying to love you and even though you know he done broke your heart? So won't you tell me, why are we so far apart? You tell me you're not the right girl for me. Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'll be out in one go free. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. She was just the other girl who was my whole world. She was just the other girl who was my whole world. Now that she's gone, I'm feeling all alone. Sometimes I just wanna call her on the phone. But it's been so long since we touched and kissed. And now I realize what I really miss. She was just the other girl. Me up and go free. Oh, girl. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. She was just the other girl. She was just the other girl. Who was my whole world. She was just the other girl. Who was my whole world. She was just the other girl. Did I even come back when things still ain't right? When all you do is think about the things I did for all those years in your heart you hide. But now that she is gone, so far away, there's really nothing else left for me to say. I didn't mean to break your heart by going back home. See, just the other girl who was my whole world. You're just the other girl. You're just the other girl who was my whole world. You're just the other girl. I'm sitting here thinking, we'll see, did me wrong, and why did I stick around so long? I done wasted my time, screaming all those years when there's no joy, 'cause all it read was just a lot of tears. She was just the other girl who was my whole world. She was just the other girl who was my whole world. She was just the other girl who was my whole world. Sitting here thinking about you, girl, trying to figure out why you keep coming back to me. But you tell me you love me, but you have the other guy. You tell me you don't love him, but you keep on playing these games. You keep running back to me, and you stay gone for a long time when you break up. Have you come back to me like you already got? See, I just don't understand why you keep running these games on me. You want me to be fair, then just me be free. Why you wanna keep wasting my time? Playing with my mind, girl. Yeah. Will you stop playing those games? Will you stop playing those games? Won't you? Will you stop playing those games? See something just ain't right when you come back. Banging on him door in the middle of the night. You've been standing outside in the pouring rain. Then you tell me he threw you out, now he's gone insane. Oh. Why does he treat you so bad? You keep running back to me. Then when things go wrong, you run right back to me. I'm trying to love you, but you're trying to love us. You're breaking my heart, and you're breaking my heart, and all you really cares about you. Please stop playing these games. Stop playing that stuff. Why you wanna break my heart? Why you wanna break my heart? You're trying to love too. Will you stop playing those games? Will you stop playing those games? Won't you? Will you stop playing those games? See something just ain't right when you come back. Will you stop playing those games? Will you stop playing those games? Won't you? Will you stop playing those games? See something just ain't right when you come back.
And we are back. We are Power 103, the station that empowers the people. Tonight, you have before you Dr. Morris and Dr. Sanders of the Dr. Sanders and Dr. Morris Experience. Tonight, we're going to be having a conversation about what happened to the family values. What happened to the family values? I want to use a scripture tonight uh, as a intro scripture to the conversation, which will be coming out of the book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15 says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Tonight, you find that many people feel that families spend less quality time together than in previous generations. While every family is different, Changes in work, technology, culture, and daily routines have affected how families connect. The family dinner table once was the heart of the family home. Meals were served more than food. Families gathered together, parents taught values, children learned respect. Problems were discussed and victories were celebrated. The dinner table was once a place where relationships were strengthened, not just where food was eaten. But what changed? A busy lifestyle, long working hours, multiple jobs, school activities, phones at the table, television, social media, video games. Technology can connect people across distances, but it can also distract people from those sitting beside them. Families often live farther apart than previous generations because of work and education can separate relatives. What happens when families stop talking? Misunderstandings increase. Family members may feel isolated. Family stories and traditions may be lost. The younger generations miss opportunities to learn from their elders. What the family taught at the dinner table. The families taught that children had to learn to listen. It was respect. They had to learn responsibility. Everyone had a role to play. They had to learn gratitude. Families often pause to give thanks. They had to learn how to forgive people, forgiveness. Conflicts could be discussed and resolved. So I want to open up tonight to talk to you about what happened to the family values. See, we are living in a time right now where the family values are pretty much gone. Folks don't sit around the dinner table as they used to anymore. They don't talk about the problems that they're having inside the family. They don't talk about the disagreements that family are having. And it's a shame that we got to a place in society now where family don't want to talk to nobody no more. Family don't want to call each other no more. Family is having grudges against one another. Somebody dies in the family and then somebody says, I'm not going to their funeral. And it's a shame that we live in a reality when it comes to family where there's so many disagreements going on. So many people don't talk to their mama no more. So many people don't talk to their father no more. So many people don't talk to their brothers and sisters no more. And it's a shame that family has gotten to a place that this thing is happening in today's time. When you look around, you find people at the dinner table, even at home or when they go out, people don't want to come and eat as a family no more. The only time you see people together is normally at Thanksgiving time. And that seems like the only time people want to come together as a family. But it's a shame that we have to deal with this thing that's going on right now because families are losing the love for one another. They don't eat together. They don't talk to each other. It's a shame that you got brothers and sisters hating each other because of something that happened within the family. You got the sister that won't forgive the brother, and the mother and the father won't forgive his son, and the son won't forgive his father. You got mothers who won't talk to their daughters and daughters who hate their mothers because of the way that they were raised. And it's a sad reality that we live in a time as this when families don't want to be bothered with other family members. You can't even get together during holiday season because somebody says, guess who's coming to dinner? Uncle so-and-so. And nobody seems in the family to like Uncle so-and-so because Uncle so-and-so got some dirty stuff that he done did to somebody in the family. Uncle so-and-so had molested one of his nieces, and the family knows about it, but they keep this thing hush hush. And there's a problem within the family when people will sit there and know what Uncle so-and-so did, and they won't rectify the situation. You got the grandmother who used to hold the family together. Grandma and Pop used to hold the family together. And now generations later, you got the children, the third and the fourth generation of kids that still won't hold the family together. They have lost all touch with reality about what the meaning of family, what it is. And it's sad that we've gotten to a place that children don't respect their own mother no more. What happened to the respect when you didn't talk back to your mama and your daddy? See, when I came up, you would get a fist in your mouth or you got beat so bad that you would think about not disrespecting your mama or your father again. See, when I grew up, my grandmother used to make us go get a switch. And if it wasn't big enough, she would make you go get another one. And she will whip you so bad to make you realize what you did was so wrong. We've gotten to a place with our families that nobody takes responsibility. Nobody wants to take responsibility for the things that they have said to another family member, but they won't take their own responsibility, what played in the part that they played in it. Family members are so ungrateful when you buy them stuff during the holiday season, during Christmas time. Me, I don't celebrate Christmas, nothing personal. But during the holiday season, folks are ungrateful. And I've heard family members say, do you have the receipt still to that present that you bought me? They're asking for the receipt because they're ungrateful because they don't like what you bought them. Folks don't want to forgive each other in the family. And it makes it hard for the family to come together as one. And it's sad that you have to deal with this thing in today's time where you can't even get the family to come together and talk about what happened. Because people are still holding grudges within the family where they won't forgive the next family member of what happened. The Bible says that you have to forgive, and you also forgive, and you too shall be forgiven. How is it that we got mothers that don't forgive their children? We got people in our families that were drunkards, drug addicts, and all kinds of things that were going on inside our families. And we got members of our family who have stolen from us, stolen jewelry, stolen furniture and TVs and all kinds of personal stuff out of your house and sold that stuff for drugs, and you still won't forgive them. And here it is 10, 15, 20 years later, and you have not forgiven your son or your daughter because they had an addiction. So you want to go on and hold grudges against your own son or your daughter because of what they did, and not understanding that they had an addiction. Some people in our families got problems, and we don't know how to deal with them. So what do? We don't forgive them. We don't want to talk to them. We don't want them in our house. They show up at your door and you slam the door in their face. What happened to the family values? You get together as a family, and the first thing people do when you go out to dinner is they pull out their cell phones. Nobody at the table is listening to the next person. And then when you say, "Did you hear what I said?" And they said, "Yeah, I heard you." But they didn't hear you because they're so wrapped up in their cell phones, and social media has gotten people so distracted from a simple conversation at dinner with their families. And it's sad that we live in this reality that everybody at the dinner table got their faces in their phones, and the waiter and the waitress is standing there trying to talk to you about what do you want to eat for dinner. But you have lost touch with reality, because that thing that you hold in your hand is more important than you talking to mama who you haven't seen in 2 months. You're holding that thing in your hand and you haven't called your brother and your sisters in a year. But you get to a place where your phone is more important than the conversations that you're supposed to be having at dinner. I don't understand this reality of what has been passed down for centuries and generations of our families. And now we got people in our families who don't talk anymore. They don't trust each other. And it's sad that we have to live like this. It's really sad that we have to live like this. You know that your family members are sick. You know somebody done called you in the family and told you that grandma was sick, that your father was sick, that your mother was sick. And you've gotten to a place where you're still holding grudges with certain people in your family, and you won't even pick up the phone and call that person that's sick to check on them. You got people that will buy their kids brand new iPhones and they're 8 years old. You got people that will allow their children to spend more time on their iPads and on social media instead of them learning like we had to learn. You got more people in the family allowing their kids to play video games all day long instead of coming to the table to have lunch or dinner with their family. And this is the reality that we live in. Family members feel isolated when stuff starts happening to them. And it's a problem that needs to be fixed in our families because people need to learn how to forgive. You may not forget it, but you need to learn how to forgive. How can you say that you are a man or a woman of God? You're a parent. So do you go on hating your children for something that they did? Do you continually to hate your children because one of them turned out to be gay? Do you disconnect yourself from your kids because they're gay? Do you stop calling your son or your daughter because they're gay? So you get to a place where because they're gay and they're living a gay lifestyle, you feel ashamed of inviting them over to some of your family gatherings because of who they might walk in the door with. What happened to the family when everybody sat down at dinner and what was cooked, everybody ate the same thing? If you didn't like what was fixed, you had to be asked to be excused from the dinner table and go to your room. And you didn't eat that night. But now we have so many options where people can be driving down the road with their family and you see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different fast food restaurants. And everybody in the car wants to eat from a different place. Nobody can come together in that one car and said, why can't we just only go sit down and eat at one place and everybody be satisfied? But we live in a reality where people are so ungrateful now and they complain. People will come to your house when you're having a cookout or you're cooking dinner, and these are your family members who don't show no gratitude because they don't like a certain item that you cooked. People are so ungrateful in our families. They don't like what you cooked, but they want to ask, do you got aluminum foil and paper plates, because they want to take 4 and 5 plates home. They didn't bring nothing to the table. They didn't bring no food over your house, but your family members will come there and want to take extra plates. They come to your house half drunk or high on drugs, and they show no respect for the people that's there. They start to talk out of the side of their neck. They start talking crazy, even to their mother or their father or their sisters and brothers. They start talking crazy. They don't have no respect. And it's a shame that we've gotten to this place. We have lost the touch of reality, what family really means. And someday we need to get back to this place of what family really means. Now, I will say this before I pass the mic to Dr. Sanders. There's people in your family that you may never forgive. There's children and cousins and nieces and grandbabies and people that you will never forgive because you're human. But God, Jesus says, forgive, and you too shall be forgiven. Because you're human, it's a hard thing for us to do when it comes to people in our family that done did some dirt to us. It's hard to forgive people, trust me. I know what the word of God says, but it's hard to forgive people for what they have done to us. So I hope and pray one day that you find it in your heart to be productive, a productive person, to play your part when it comes to you being a part of the family. I am going to pass the mic to Dr. Sanders. Again, find a way to forgive your family. I don't know what's going on with the family in this generation, but we have to play our part when it comes to family. You can love people with the long silver-handed handle spoon. You can love people from a distance, but you have to find in your heart total forgiveness when it comes to the family and its values. Dr. Sanders, I'm going to pass the mic to you. This is all I got for tonight. I'll go back and close out when you're all finished and done. But the floor is yours, Dr. Sanders.
God bless you, Dr. Morris. And giving honor to God as usual. That's the ultimate praise and glory that we must give is honor to God. My mind goes back to the beginning with the first murder that happened between the two brothers, Cain and Abel. Cain was a businessman, and little Abel was just some little field guy that loved his little sheep and loved his little lamb. But when the sacrifice came, Cain got a little antsy with his brother, and literally was jealous of his brother. If you really want to talk about it, he was jealous of his brother because his brother had a different attitude, and he didn't not like his brother. It's just that he's like, God, I don't have nothing but these little lambs. That's all I have. I don't have anything else. Where in the business mind of Cain, that was intimidating to him because Cain was used to dealing with. He was an agriculturalist. He was a businessman, and most powerful businessmen don't like somebody that's humble. So what do? They get rid of him and whatnot. And that's why his blood cried out, as we read in the New Testament, when God said, "Where's your brother? Are you your brother's keeper?" And that's where it all started. They want to try to pin a lot of things. Everything that happened in the garden is what happens today. My family, if I want to be transparent, my family having to grow up in the Pentecostal church, you know, with my great grandmother and my late great grandfather, who I didn't have the chance to meet him, but I heard my late great grandmother say when she was sick and her daughters were taking care of him, she saw the confrontation they were having just by caring for my great grandmother. And she said, when I'm gone, you all are not going to be together. My family have been divided for 40 years because whatever the sisters felt about each other, they spewed it to their children, which made their children think differently of their cousins. I had one aunt who's gone on, and she hated me. She literally hated me because my mom, my grandmother, my dad, they put me in Catholic school. My grandmother would take me shopping every other Saturday. I was sitting at the hairdresser getting the little old fashioned curls where you hear the clink, 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 clinks. And it was $7 to get your hair done, as opposed to now you got to pay almost $200. But there was a time that my family would come together. We would go fishing. We would go to each other's house for the holidays. You know, the 4th of July, Labor Day, and just we all at the same church. But I observed more than my cousins because they were not in the loop of a lot of stuff. When my aunt passed away, one of the aunts that was heavily endowed in the Church of God in Christ, when she passed away, I was 16, and I saw my family break down at the funeral home. They were arguing over the casket. They were arguing over which flowers to get. Slaughter and Sons had the body. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my grandmother and her sisters at it with each other at the casket, trying to pick a casket. And I said in my mind, Apostle Morris, I said, Auntie, I wish you was here to see the crap that's going on. Because I was taught to love our families. A well-known professor at IIT talked about when you talked about social media, the distraction with the phones, because the games do not allow the children to interact. Like when we were growing up, we had Life Game, we had Monopoly, Payday, Shoots and Ladders, Battlestar Galactica, Battleship. We had all those games, Twister Twister. The girls can get the bat and ball and bat. You shoot little marbles, but you had a socialization. You had socialization. We used play money to act like we were going to be wealthy. Monopoly tells you how to own real estate, how to repair, how to build condos. And you can have a discussion because everybody basically were together. In my family, and I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about me. When I was first married, I married out of the church, but I backslid. So I was a backslider that married out of the church. And I watched his family. How their family was odd from mine because they were judgmental, first of all, they were. And they were very picky about who was married to the family. And so, but all the boys had some past drama. And I'm like, so y'all holier than anybody else? I'm just being honest. And so, but I watched the mother, how she treated the father. And so when she would say certain things, I'm looking now, mostly all the grandkids, they were small. But I would hear her say, oh, you stupid nigga, you can't read it. And at that time, I really loved my father-in-law. I really did because I watched what he had. He let the kids needed help. They always came to him. They tear up his car. He'll buy a new car. They'll tear that up or whatever. And it just had no respect for the grounds of what I was reared up. Because in my domain, we were taught to respect our parents. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. We didn't roll our eyes. We didn't smack our lips. We didn't snap our head. We didn't do things like that. And so when I looked at this family, they called their dad and mom by their first name. I mean, I would have been wearing, I wear braces now, but I would have been wearing dentures. if,
That's right.
if I called my mama out of her name, Barbara Jean literally would send me to the moon faster than Alice for the honeymooners, because we were taught that the older people were that of wisdom. So I hung around my great grandmother. So then, decades later, when I got married, you know, the pastor's wife, they couldn't stand me because I heard one of them say, "Oh, we a royal family. We got to get all these weird folks out of here." And I'm like, "Who is weird? Like you all are perfect. Like you all really London, England, to have a conversation with with the Queen of England." You know, and I found out a lot of in the church world, the families are not family oriented the way that they should be. Now, not all of them, but some of them are not. That's why I really love my international presiding bishop, Bishop Sheard, because he loves his wife, he loves his children, he loves his grandchildren, and they are a family unit, although they're in a church. We know all families are not perfect in ministry, period. But the bad part is that the devil has embarked himself into the family structure because his main idea and objective is to destroy everything prior to Christ coming back. You have it where some people, if we go back, Apostle, we go back to the days of the Brady Bunch. We go back to the days
Mm-hmm.
of the Cleavers. We go back to the days of Dennis the Menace. You know, we go back to those days where mom always wore a dress, always had a string of pearls around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
Dad literally went to work. Boys or girls went to school. They came home. They showed you family structure, which honestly, truthfully, people say, "Oh, that's fake." No, it ain't fake. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Whether mom worked, kept the house together, cooked, cleaned, she still had on a fancy dress and was still able to wash. Hair was together, makeup was flawed. Dad come home, he didn't have to worry about it. "Hello, dear, how you doing, dear? You ready for dinner?" Okay, the dinner was already made. Now I gotta go cook it and make him an hour. But they would all the family structure was already there. Now, when you look at our families today, let's deal with the world. I've seen, being a former educator in Chicago Public Schools, where the mothers do not know how to talk to their children, whether the father's in the home or not. I hear the mothers, "Get your little stupid ass down," and I'm not, "Oh, what?" I would hear
Mm-hmm.
it. And where do you think the kids get the cussing from? The mamas. They be on the phone, and Apostle, you already know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they do. "Girl, let me tell you, that nigga, he ain't no good." They doing all that on the phone. They go in
Mm-hmm.
the bathroom and have a whole conversation in the bathroom, arguing about, "You ain't this and you ain't that. You ain't kiss my." This here. See, we didn't have no phones in our
Mm-hmm.
day. We had a rotary phone where you turn the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Then came a touch tone phone. And if you were talking too much on the phone, they would put a block in the middle of the rotary, so you had to get a key to pull it out to call somebody. Because we didn't walk around the house with a cordless phone. That stuff didn't come out until like the 80s and 90s, late 80s and 90s with a cordless phone. The phone is a distraction. It's a talkative device that's supposed to be used for certain things, but it's being abused. I see the mothers buying $1,000, $2,000 phones for a child to go to school with. For what? They have no job, but they can't come to the dinner table. And when you talk about coming together, see, in those days, you sit down at the table and you had discussions. You always had conversations at the kitchen table because guess what? That's where everybody ate. And so, how was your day? How's school going? There was a time that you can come out and say, well, I'm not doing too well in my classes. Why you're not doing too well? What's distracting you? See, that was an open forum at the kitchen table because now you're getting to know where your children's head is at and what they're dealing with and how they're able to say, hey, mom, dad, about certain things that's going on in their school setting. I'm reminded of a sick episode of the Cosby Show where Bill Cosby had a doctor friend who came to visit him. And he saw how the interaction between Dr. Huxtable and his children, his wife was. And he broke down and started crying. And he was like, what's going on? He said, man, don't let your family go. He's like, what are you talking about? He said, because mine is tore up. His daughter got a hold of dope and been in and out of the streets, been in rehab. And he said, and it's just tearing my wife apart because other distractions have grabbed hold of our children. The black families don't come together anymore in the kitchen. Everybody, life is life in Speedy's Gonzalez lifestyle, and nobody knows what's going on. Then when the children are failing in school, they want to go and cuss out the educators and want to start a fight and go on social media and throw it out there. A lot of the boys that these girls are dealing with, I'm saying boys, they're not men, they got so much to say. I saw a young man on social media today who cussed out a bus driver, called her a bee, a slut. I can cuss. It's a country. It's a free world. I can say what I want to say. You gonna try it? He was talking to a black woman
Wow.
like she was trash. Yeah, you got grills in your mouth. Why you worried about what's on her teeth? That has nothing to do with you disrespecting her. So now, I'm not going to say that all the fathers that are not there have caused the problem, but the example of fatherhood has been obsolete. And the mothers, I'm a woman, I had 5 boys and 1 girl. And it was a challenge for me because I don't think like a man. I don't have man intuition. I don't have man nothing. I'm full-fledged woman all the way. And I would have to give them what I could give them. But their father, I would tell him, listen, you need to talk to your boys. This is what's going on. Da 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 da. Yo, they're just growing up. It was always I'm gonna run from the issue and just call it a phase. But a phase. It's just a phase. No, everything not a phase. There are some things that need to be addressed. You know, I had to tell him, I said, look, you don't want your sons to get caught up in stuff. Oh, ain't no big deal. It is a big deal. Because as parents, we are the first teachers to the children. But then when you get baby daddy or exes, we want to get married with your mama, all this your mama, your mama, your mama, your mama. But my thing is, as Farrakhan say, the woman is the queen.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that gives the birth to the child. I did not, and I have to say this, Dr. Morrison, I'm not throwing no shade. I said yes to men that were not, there were boys that were not men and did not know how to be a father.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff I went through trying to clue you in. No matter what he did to divide the family, these are your sons, these are your children. You need to give them some things, especially girls, because you don't want the girls to go out there and start messing with Pookie, Papo, and Leroy,
Mm-hmm.
who out there in the corner with their pants hanging down their behind and out there selling weed and smoking dope and whatnot. And you got the father, oh, well, you got to, no, you can't all of a sudden want to raise them when they turn 20 years old. It's impossible. My dad took me back at my age to 10 years old when he left. And I had to tell him years ago, I said, Dad, I'm not 10 anymore. I'm grown. That's the issue. So you want me to have a child like mine?
Hmm.
I can't go back to being 10. 10 is where you left. But 10, you were so angry, and I'm putting it out there because I've talked about it before. When my father was jumped on my mama this one time. One time. See, the church don't talk about conversations like this. I live in the real world.
Mhm.
I ain't so holy that I can't talk about things that we need to be discussing. But everybody else is so holy and they want to talk positive. Well, everything that's good to talk positive. But guess what? My dad, I was 10 years old and I was going to St. Ambrose Catholic School. Whatever my mom and dad's rumble about, I did not want to see my dad hurt my mom. Now my dad is Mexican, and I'm like, why is my daddy fighting my mama? And the way that he had my mom bent over, I looked and the first thing came to my mind at 10 years old, he's trying to kill my mama. That's the first thing I'm seeing. And I went and Apostle, I said, stop, you're gonna kill her. Stop. I'm like, stop. And I started crying. And my dad slapped my head upside the dresser. I went this way. And there was a rage inside of me that turned red in my eyes. I don't know if you want to call it animalistic, but whatever it was, I literally screamed so I wanted to bite him in pieces.
Mhm.
But something ran me out the house to get to my grandmother because it was coming up to the time that she was getting ready to come home because she worked for Curtis Candy Company, the company that make Baby Ruth and Butterfinger. See, my family, while my cousins are all Trina live in a big house, all Trina got her, she in a Catholic school, she get her hair done. See, my cousins was thinking carnal. But they wasn't thinking, listen, I gotta live with these people. And when I got there, Apostle, to the corner, I almost got hit by a car. I just wanted to get to my grandmother. I just wanted to get to my grandmother. That's all I was trying to get to her. And I didn't hear nothing. And then I know she said, I screamed so loud that whoever was driving said, are you all right? Are you all right? And I just wanted to get to her. I'm like, he gonna kill her, he gonna kill her, he gonna kill her. And when my grandmother got up, somehow or another, my mother had got, got my dad across that bed and she nailed him. And she was drilling him like there was no tomorrow. You don't hit my daughter. You don't hit our child. And whatever it was, and when he got back up, it was like two dogs fighting in circles on a cartoon. And my grandmother said, stop right now. And they stopped. And my grandmother said, Juan, you got to go. Hitting my daughter is one thing, but slapping Trina is something else. My whole side of my face was red. And I couldn't stand him because what he had done to me. And so decades later, I had to learn how to live with the forgiveness of my father because he was the one that taught me about the music. My dad always was, showing me how to fish, how to put the worm on the hook and take my reel and cast it on out there. My dad told me a lot of things about fishing. Taught me a lot about how to put a turntable together, how to put speakers together. Those things, at that time when Zenith had the amplifier, you put an album on there, it would melt. The old stuff, the 8-track tape,
Mhm.
he taught me that. My mom had a vocal like the late Marian Anderson. So I picked up a couple of traits from them. But when it came down to the family coming together, we barely could come together anymore because no one would address the issues. And when my grandmother passed, my grandmother's sisters, they was hot and mad with me like Crisco grease. And because I would not involve them, and I said, when I asked you all to help me, you wouldn't want to help me. Now you want to help me. Now you want to go to the church folk. Oh, well, see, Trina won't let me. Trina. I'm so sick of them saying what Trina. But why don't you take accountability of things I guarantee you they weren't. And I'm not dishing out dirt on my family now. Everybody is trying to come together because all of them are dead now. But my thing is, I've seen more stuff where I live, the mother house here in Chicago, than most of them cousins. Because a lot of them were not even in the house with me. They didn't grow up to deal with what I had to deal with. My grandmother worked 40 years for Curtis Candy Company. And when she went through her phase of dealing with alcoholism and hiding it, nobody helped me. When my mother worked at the post office and she got with the crowd that was out there selling stuff, nobody helped Trina. But the minute them women died, oh, see, Trina acting funny. No, Trina ain't acting funny. I'm the only child from my parents, and none of them came to my rescue. I had to walk that trampoline by myself. So when I tell my children that are grown, 22 to 40, I said, their fathers came from a different cup. That but you had this, you had that. I remember their dad had a brother that wanted to fight all the time and get over there, and like you said earlier, get drunk, want to start cussing folk out, pulling out guns and all that. Why are we doing that? But because of Cain and Abel.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all comes from. How do we break the curse? The families get together, and instead of sitting down having a conversation, because see, like you said earlier, you had sneaky uncles, Uncle Sam, Uncle Lamont, that would mess with their little nieces and nephews, and mothers didn't want to hear it because you're lying on my brother. But see, all the time, you never knew that your brother had an appetite for little girls.
Mm-hmm.
You think you know your siblings. You don't know none about them until something go down. So the kids get afraid and they get scared. My daughter had a friend, and her friend had a brother. And the mama told me on the phone about the son, which is the girl's brother. He's the devil! He the devil! He the devil! And I'm like, what's wrong? What is he talking about? Only to know that her son messed with her daughter's little girl, and at that time, I had to because this boy was friends with my son, and I had to tell my son, I said, son, this boy, your friend, has some pedophile issues. And so when we made him talk, I had to call my former father at that time. I told Pastor, I said, you need to call your father because mandated by law. Mandated is you being a pastor, you have to tell the truth. He talked to him. I called the police and told them what happened. The sister told me, she said, yes, my brother, when I had him babysitting my daughter while I'm going to work, my daughter doing things with her legs that she ain't never done. And then here you go. And I asked him, why would you do that to your niece? You know what his reason were to me?
Mm.
I just wanted to know how I feel to be with a girl.
Wow.
So you're going to play with your little 4-year-old niece's private parts to see how it feels? I mean, this is what's going on because whatever it was with that woman, she moved up out of Chicago. She moved out of Chicago, and that same spirit, because he had a girlfriend, and as you say, with transgender, you either was this, as Fred Sanford would say, they
Mm-hmm.
funny, that was the funny side, but now society, thanks to a couple of presidents, decided to want to open the door to say it's okay to be gay. Well, the Bible says that a man and a woman should come together and procreate the earth. You can't get two men to come together and have a child. No man has an ovary. None. Ovary comes from with the woman. You carry the sperm. Once it enters the woman and it goes out into millions of all things, you got one or two of them that's gonna hit that egg and gonna start reproduction.
Mhm. That's right.
Now, no man has no vaginal area. He has a butthole called an anal. And there's nothing can produce out of that. If you want to be that way, that's you. Now, we all have cousins or children who have decided to want to be transgender or whatever, and they're taking all of the money to make sure they have bust, vagina, all that stuff, cut the Adam's apple off, but you still love your children.
Hmm.
You still love them. No, you're not going to participate in the parade. No, they can't be living in the same house with you screwing no, no, no. There's called boundaries. It's boundaries
Hmm.
because it's going against what you believe. And it's real talk. No matter how grown they are, they have to get their own place and do whatever they want to do. That's on them. But do you stop loving them? You don't stop loving them. You still love them
That's right.
with the love of Jesus and as a parent. Farrakhan lost his wife, and you know I want to read this if I can,
Yeah, yeah.
Dr.
Go ahead.
Morris.
Hmm.
In this segment of this paper, the final call,
Love it. I
the
love
bus
it.
driver, yeah, and they wrote a beautiful article about her, and I've been reading it. I've been reading it.
Hmm.
I've seen him twice and met him once. No, I met him twice. I never saw her too much, but there's a part of what it says in the name of Allah, the beneficent and the merciful, will be loving you always. A loving tribute to the celebration of life for Mother Khadija Farrakhan. So here in one part, he says, stop faking it.
Hmm.
He said, Khadija wouldn't have been with me for 72 minutes if I was a false dude.
Hmm.
And these are my children here. You see where he goes? My children, because it came from him too.
Hmm.
And they have grown up under me and their mother. But they never heard me argue with their mother. They never heard me call my wife out of her name in anger. Did you hear me? This is what he said.
Hmm.
How many of you speak evil words to your wife? I'm going to pause right there. If you're in a relationship, something don't go right with the marriage and or the relationship, it does not mean that you go and you talk about the mother like a dog
That's right.
because you laid up with her.
Hmm.
Don't go all of a sudden, well, I'm getting me another wife because I ain't like that one. All of a sudden. Because see, in the church world, a whole lot of men got a whole lot of kids, and all of a sudden, oh well, I don't know if it's mine. What you mean you don't know if it's yours? You played, you laid, you ate, you
That's
you
right.
kept company,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden now you got Alzheimer's. Oh, I don't even know. Then when the child gets older, then you're being chased down by the system. Now all of a sudden, well, I want to talk to your mother. See, that's the wrong, and I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of it. If the relationship did not go as you expected it to, does that mean you be nasty to each other? I know a guy dealing with a baby mama, and it's been, oh, pass me something, okay? I told him, I said, you and the mother are so nasty to each other that the little girl do not know how to respect. Either one of you.
Wow.
Because you say, see, your mama, your mama, your mama. Shut your mouth. Because she is still that girl's mother. You're making her hate her mother based on your feelings. And that is so wrong. You got to get a white man system, which is called a court system, to get in your face to tell both of you how to act. Come on, Dr. Morris. Don't nobody hear me. Nobody
That's
hear
right.
me.
You're telling the truth.
Telling you how to act as parents. You're paying social workers, which are called guardianship, to tell you what not to say and what and how to say it.
Wow.
Knowing you cannot afford a $10,000 retainer fee for an attorney.
Mm.
And a little girl can sit up and call you any name she want to call you. Why? Because the mama didn't say, oh, I don't have no problem. It ain't cute. And I told him, I said, man, if I had some money, I would snatch that little girl out of both of you all's custody.
Mm-hmm.
Because the little girl is messed up. But she's messed up behind the parents. The mama wrote a bunch of stuff in what they call a court modification. If you get a girlfriend and or married, I need to interview the girl or the woman that's going to be your wife. Why you need to interview? The child gonna get older and she's gonna make her own decisions. Okay, let me go back to fair comp. I am very serious now. Brothers and sisters, we are hurting inside. All of us as black people, in fact, all of the human family is like that. So we fight each other rather than trying to really discover what's hiding beneath the cover of very beautiful, righteous lover. So when you go home, as we celebrate Khadijah, let's make a vow to turn over a new leaf, to be a better person. Joy has never been in sex. Righteousness is the joy of life itself. And if you are not trying to be right, you are never going to have peace or joy in your life. It's a whole lot to what he said about his marriage and his life with his former wife, Khadijah.
Wow.
It goes back. And most of our men were not taught how to respect their mother because many of them were mad at their mama because mama left them or mama didn't pay attention to what was going on around them in the house or going to somebody else's house. You know, I couldn't go to everybody's house and spend the night. That wasn't happening. They don't want to say nothing because if you talked about your brother who was a rapist, a hidden molester, you blinded my brother. Something wrong with you. No. And like one of my brother bishops said, you want to go to all these meetings and summits and conventions and leave your child at home with Cousin Bubba. And Cousin Bubba sitting up there doing some stuff with your kids that you know nothing about. Then when them kids see Cousin Bubba and they get older, they're going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to accept the fact that your brother is nasty. And I don't care if you was in the church, the Baptist church, Church of God in Christ, Apostolic, whoever. You have a lot of men that have hidden demons of molestation inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we so holy in the church, well, I don't believe it happened. Keep thinking, keep living. And so when it's time to come together for special occasions, whether it be a wedding, a funeral, well, you already know black folks got to argue at the funeral anyway. I didn't like the soloists. Why they had it? I mean, for real, why they have my, I'm finna go there. When my dad died last year, I knew that Lincoln Sons Funeral Home was gonna charge me $9 million. And it wasn't that I didn't want to give it to him. I just couldn't have it because my dad didn't have his business. The business that I put in order for my dad, he tried to really detangle it. So I asked my local church, can I just have it a memorial in the fellowship hall? I gave them the fee for it. And my daddy's sisters, I don't know why my brothers fearing this GD church. They was cussing, man, in the church.
Mhm.
My only niece's mama, you got an obituary? This is ugly as can be. Nasty. I ain't done it to none of y'all. But you all wasn't there when my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer, and you all didn't stop him from drinking. He drunk himself to death. He killed his own self. I sent everybody the same flyer, plugger. It was all on Facebook. It was all on TikTok. It was all on Instagram. Then one of the aunts failed to look at her phone because I still got it in my phone when everything was changed. When I talked to her and she really tried to make me look bad. So all of my cousins on my daddy's side walked past me as if I was nothing but a statue. You in my church acting ugly. Because that one auntie failed to look at her phone, but she already knew. You wanted to start something with me in my church. My pastor's wife stayed there. So I'm not leaving her. I stayed there. They had a second funeral service after I already had it. You walked up behind in my church and clown. And then took the food. We ain't giving nobody no food. Is it kind of crazy? Not one of them gave me one dime to cremate my father. I signed that contract. I got 3 eyewitnesses, my daughter, my girlfriend, and her son. I sat right there at A.R. Lee's funeral home and signed that contract. This man had his stuff detangled eyes because he decided to get with some woman who was trying to get a hold to money my daddy didn't have. The man ain't have but a disability check of $800. That's all. But y'all ain't seeing what I'm seeing. And I sat there, Apostle. I sat there and I literally wanted to do what Jesus did. Flip them tables over. Boom. Get out of here. Bye. I promise you, I'd have grabbed all of them and slung them out my church door. But I sat there and I was quiet. And I said, I'm done with y'all. Love you, but I'm done with you.
Mhm.
You got your grandkids not liking me for nothing. One of the cousins got into a real estate fraud, stole money from the bank, turned around, was trying to get everybody. See, you got all these little cousins that duck and dodge and run and hide. And these are families. We talking about families, right? We talking about families, right? Why we can't come
Mhm.
together?
Mhm.
And they don't tell the truth about what they do, but they want to make the other folk look bad. Yes.
Mhm.
I said, I thank God for my mama's side of the family now.
Mhm.
Because whatever went on between the sisters, it stayed between the sisters. And I've always told my children that you all, if y'all fall out, y'all find a way to come back together. So you all, because at the end of the day, your dad and I are not going to be on this earth long. And it's going to be you all and the grandbabies. They need to see all of you all come together, not just on your dad's Father's Day and birthday, and they go all out and have barbecue. Oh man, they do it on up. It come to my birthday and Mother's Day, I could barely get a card or phone call. The man that did not teach them what he needs gets more glorified. Not that I'm saying that you pick and choose the battle between the parents, but it's that the fact that mine are gone. I wish mine could come back. I took care of them. Young lady today, I will never forget her. And her dad has some health issues, but he walking and everything. And she said, "I'm so discombobulated because of all these appointments and all this." And she said, she's like, "I'm sorry." And then she did this, and I took my hand, Dr. Morris. I said, "Hold my hand." And I said, "Hold my hand." She said, I'm sorry. I said, why are you apologizing? Why are you apologizing? I said, you're doing what I did. And she just broke down. I said, the pressure is your blessing because you're going to have to help somebody else.
Hmm.
I went a step further because her father had two charts. And I called medical records. I said, listen, I need you to do this because I've been there. She's the only child, the only girl, her little precious self. And I told her, I said, it's going to be all right. When her dad got ready to leave, after I came back, she said, can I just give you a pop of water? I said, no, 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 no. And I told her dad, I said, hey, Dad. I said, you have a wonderful daughter. He said, I know. He said, but what she ain't tell you, her mother died when she was 6 months old, and I had to raise her by myself. And she was like this, like, and I said, you're going to be okay. She said, can I just do it? I don't want nothing. I don't
That's
want
right.
nothing. I took care of my dad. When he got sick at 65, your cousins told me, you better have some insurance because we ain't going to bury your daddy. All that kind of stuff. But see, but you all want the power. This is family now. We're talking about family. Why we can't come together? All of these things, confusion, division, lust, pride, envious, jealousy, debauchery, goes back to the Cain and Abel story. That's where it stems from. Little kids is watching their big brothers or cousins walk around shooting each other, doing all kind of craziness, jumping in people's apartments, what they call it, carjacking, and all these other things. And this is where it's going. I didn't have men coming in and out of my house. I didn't sit there doing drugs and alcohol. I had to work, go to school, and I was at church 99% of the time. Because as a single mom, I had to learn how to deal with my children and where they were because I had no help. I'm not talking about child support. I'm talking about the other parent co-parenting and listening of what they're dealing with. Everything is not a phase. And that's what his man said. Oh, it's a phase. You'll get through it. You'll get over it. I'm like, so I'm the only one that's a teacher? And Dr. Morris, I got shot down 9 million times by that dad. Well, it's the phase. Trinity, you oughta. No! Because where I am right now is because I was taught.
Hmm.
So to answer that question, goes back to Cain and Abel. How do we break it? Yes, we all have dysfunctionality in our family. If you want to break it, if you want to come together, especially in the church. Because in the church, it's competition. One son can play better than the other son, who can sing better than who, all that nonsense. That's demonic. And when God is not happy, God's wrath shows up in many ways, in more ways than one.
Amen.
So we have to want to break it and come together, sort it out. Don't keep reliving it. Don't keep talking about it. Let's get it out in the open and be prepared to learn the truth. And it's going to hurt. But do we carry it for the rest of our life? No. But you got to be honest. Because, see, little kids see the things that grown folk do. And they learn that. It's learned behavior.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Sanders, for your input on what happened to the family values. Awesome conversation tonight. I'm going to play one more song real quick, and we are going to our conclusion.
Jameson, I'm drinking Jameson with no chaser. Ever since you shocked me, baby, like you had the taster. It's been 6 months, 2 days, a couple hours since you sent that picture in the place called ours. To a man that called, but you was in the shower. Thought that I was over it. Should I mention every little thing you do got my attention? Why you turn your phone away? I can see your screen away. You're done cheating. Baby, I can tell you think I'm stupid. Maybe I'm a little dumb for you. I be trying to get my mind off of it. This grudge that I hold against you. Inside my head, I can't get over it. I can't get over it. Unforgiving inside. I can't get over it. I can't get over it.
Again, we have had a wonderful conversation on this evening about family values. Again, Dr. Sanders, I appreciate. I love your powerful inputs every time we do this show. You give so much to this podcast, and I appreciate everything that you bring. But in conclusion, I would like to say that modern life has changed how many families spend time together. Shared meals and conversations remain valuable ways to build trust, pass on wisdom, and strengthen relationships. Families can intentionally create new traditions that encourage connections, regardless of past habits. A family grows stronger not by just living under the same roof. Let me say that again. A family grows stronger not by just living under the same roof, but by sharing time, listening to one another, and making room for future conversations, and also having love and understanding. This is going to wrap up our conversation for tonight. Again, we are Power 103, the station that empowers the people, with Dr. Morse and Dr. Sanders, the Dr. Morse and Dr. Sanders experience. We are always trying to have real conversations with real people, real topics. Stay tuned for our next conversation. Our next conversation is going to be a powerful one. Trust me. This next conversation that we're going to try to shoot for next week is, why do people feel they need to have a title in church? Why do people feel, let me say it again, Dr. Sanders, because Dr. Sanders can't wait to have this conversation.
Oh, Lord.
She can't wait to have this next conversation, because trust and believe, this next conversation, we are going to let y'all have it.
Yeah,
We
got to.
are going to let y'all have it. Again, the next conversation is called, why do people feel
Ooh-wee.
as though they need to have a title in church?
Lord
Why
have
are
mercy.
people chasing titles to
Mm-mm.
be somebody? I got to
Idaho.
have a title. That's the next conversation here on Power 103. Why do y'all feel like y'all need a title? Get ready for the next conversation. And that is going to be next week. Why do people feel like they need a title in church? Dr. Sanders, God bless you. May
God
heaven
bless you.
smile upon you and your family.
You as well.
And folks, I hope when you go back to look at this video, I hope and pray that someone finds something that was said that you can apply to your life. Again, we are Power 103, the station that empowers the people with Dr. Morris and Dr. Sanders. Real talk, real people, real conversations. And we are out of here. We're going to see you again next week. Stay tuned for the next conversation. Dr. Sanders, you have a wonderful night. God
God
bless each
bless.
and every one of you. May heaven smile upon you.